The WNBA has become increasingly physical, and the vast majority of that physicality centers around what, by the very definition of the organization's own rules, is illegal contact. Inadequately checked excessive physicality increases the likelihood of injuries, significantly curtails offensive performance, and takes an emotional toll on the players and fans. There certainly may be a small minority of fans that like the WWE MMA type of physicality, but the vast majority of fans by far do not. That could easily be proven beyond a shadow of a doubt with a survey by anyone with direct access to WNBA fans. There are numerous things wrong with officiating in the WNBA, and there are numerous root causes as well. Here are a few. Incompetence. I have been closely analyzing a lot of game film lately, and what I see in the way of officiating totally blows my mind. The officials overall do come across as highly incompetent and unqualified. However, there is absolutely no way that their performance on the court is not being controlled to some extent by the league, and probably very much. In other words, some of it is personal incompetence, and the rest of it is how the league has instructed them to call the games. Inconsistency. There is inconsistency among players. There is much talk and many receipts indicating that some players receive more favorable whistles than others. This usually centers around players that were perceived as one of the faces of the league prior to the arrival of Caitlin Clark. This involves both getting away with fouls by them that are not called, and having fouls called against opponents when little, if any, foul was evident. There's inconsistency among teams. Certain teams appear to often get a higher percentage of favorable calls than other teams, and there appears to be many receipts that support this belief as well. Inconsistency within games. There is scarcely a game played when there aren't numerous times when hard fouls go uncalled, while petty, minimal contact fouls are called, and it does not always point toward a favorable team or player whistle. Reviews. Reviews are often obviously wrong, which defies explanation. Reviews often take too long, often giving the appearance that a break is being extended to a favored team that was being exhausted by their opponent. A lengthy review can also be a momentum killer. Some reviews are challenging and warrant the time taken to complete, but many reviews are for extremely obvious plays and should not take as long as they do. Accountability and guidance. Who is running the show and wanting the officiating to be the way it is? We have a WNBA Board of Governors. This board is responsible for approving rule changes and other matters related to the league's operations. We have a WNBA Competition Committee. This committee recommends rule changes to the WNBA Board of Governors. We have a Women's National Basketball Players Association. The WNBPA is the players' union that negotiates the collective bargaining agreement with the WNBA. And then there's a commissioner, Cathy Englebert. I simply cannot believe that the referees are on an island and calling all of the games in a season without any recommendations, guidance, or influence from the league. If so, that would further show that the league is more incompetent and unprofessional than even the officiating is. Cathy Englebert, her ignorance. Recently, she was quoted as saying, "Interesting when you sit in the chair I sit in that no winning team ever complains about officiating, no losing team ever doesn't complain about officiating." Now, I could easily create and post an entire video detailing what an ignorant statement that was, and I probably will. Cathy Englebert's confession. Englebert defended the current system, noting that officials are human and make mistakes. She also mentioned that officials undergo an extensive evaluation process and thorough training. Okay, To me, this tells us that the way the games are being officiated, to at least some extent, comes from a mandate handed down from the league. I'm going to let this be the conclusion to what we'll call Officiating Part 1. I'll plan on putting up a second officiating video that, among other things, will further detail the utter ignorance and incompetence of League Commissioner Cathy Englebert.